The other day I was DJing with Rekordbox, but then something weird caught my eye. The jog display was spinning, even though the jogs on my controller don't move. There was a mysterious blue circle that appeared out of nowhere, and a crazy red snake with a mind of its own. Surely they must have a purpose. I read the entire Rekordbox manual, and there was almost nothing about these features in there. So I spent hours pressing every button on my controller to try and work out what these things were. And when I did, I was shocked that Pioneer keeps these secret. In this video, I'm going to show you how the jog displays actually work so you can use them for more than just BPM, how to use circles to level up your phrasing and timing, and the essential feature I publicly insulted Rekordbox for not having, which was there all along. In Rekordbox performance mode, you'll see this black notch. It sits in a grey circle around the BPM display. Imagine a clock face. At the start of the track, this notch will always be at the 2 o'clock position. When you play the track, the notch rotates. You stop the track and it stops rotating, just like a vinyl record would. And if you have a controller with a display, the white line will synchronize with the notch. If you pay close attention, you'll notice this rotation has nothing to do with the grid on your track. One rotation of the notch doesn't equal 1 bar or even 1 beat. So what's actually going on here? There's one big difference between controllers and turntables. The jogs on most controllers don't spin, but in fact, they actually do. Rekordbox just doesn't bother to tell you. And like on most turntables, there's actually 2 speeds they can spin at. By default, it's set to 33 RPM, but you can change that to 45 in the preferences. Go to controller and then jog rotation speed. But I've got a controller, and isn't this just for DJs using DVS and turntables? Well, it turns out this is all the basis for a feature that can massively improve your timing. It slowly fills up, stops, and then starts disappearing again, like a stubborn balloon. It completely disregarded the grid and came and went as it pleased. I watched this stupid red bar over and over again until I finally worked out what it was actually doing. I finally had a realization. It was in cahoots with the notch. And once I figured this out, it made it really easy to hit every single drop. It turns out this red bar is a visual way of showing you where you are in relation to a cue point, either before or after, and it goes through 4 key stages. In this example, I've set a hot cue on the drop of this track. Remember how the notch corresponds to the rotations of the jog wheel. At 5 rotations before the cue point, the red circle will start to fill up. Important to note here is the notch could be in any position when this countdown starts. Half of 5 rotations is 2.5, so after 2.5 rotations of the notch, the red circle will be half filled. The notch completes its 5th rotation as we reach the cue. As the track moves past the cue point, everything happens in reverse. The red circle will now start to disappear until after 5 rotations it's completely gone again. But since it doesn't follow the grid, it's kind of confusing. So there's actually an even better mode for this which makes it way more useful. But before we get to that, did you know DJs like you got this tip 6 months ago? I know, it burns like it does when you pee. They signed up to the Hot Cue DJ newsletter where I share Rekordbox and DJ library tips and tricks, often way before I get time to turn them into videos. You can join them for free by clicking the link in the description. So with that out of the way, let me show you how to make this red circle even better. Go into Preferences, View, switch Jog Display, and change the option to Current Cue/Slip. Instead of the red circle, this will place a small red bar where the cue point is. As you approach the cue point, the notch will reach that red marker. When the notch reaches that marker, you've hit your cue. This is really handy for situations like double dropping where you're trying to release a track at exactly the right time. Now, unfortunately, this only works with the standard cue and not hot cues, but it's pretty easy to get around. I normally just load my hot cue and then press the cue button. If you use slip mode a lot, for example, for scratching, then this is the mode you also want to be in. When you're in slip mode, the inner circle will turn fully red and the cue point will turn yellow. By visually matching the notch with the yellow marker, you can end your scratching at the right moment, and it's a useful visual reminder that you're in that mode in the first place. But there's one other feature we need to talk about, and I owe Pioneer an apology. Let's talk about vinyl mode. With it turned on, if you press down on the jog, it'll stop the music, just as would happen on a traditional vinyl turntable. With it turned off, pressing the jog will not stop the track, and instead you can use the whole surface to nudge the pitch. The problem with vinyl mode is it's really easy to accidentally knock the jog and stop the music, making you look like an absolute fool. Now, regular viewers will know I previously moaned that there's no indication as to whether vinyl mode is on or off, even if you've got a button on your controller. But it turns out there is one after all. See that blue circle? That means vinyl mode's on. So Pioneer, actually, wait, I'm just going to check the manual a second. You know, like, did they mention it to anyone? Of course they didn't, and I hate apologizing, so And there are even more Rekordbox features like this which Pioneer doesn't bother to tell you about, but once you know about them, they can massively improve your DJing. In this video, I go through 10 Rekordbox settings that every DJ should change.